Well, I got something a little unusual for you today. I'm going to walk down to the tobacco barn. We turned it into a chicken coop and then later turned it into a horse stall where we kept two horses. And you'll see some of the horse gates in there. And I kind of jumped into the video a little bit premature, but you're going to see what we're up to. And just a little spoiler alert, I did the math after I did the video, and we purchased this lawnmower 35 years ago in 1990. And then I used it for about 2 years. So it has been down in this barn pretty rough for 33 years, and I've not touched it. So I'm going to drag it out of there and we'll start the video where I'm talking about getting it out of the barn and getting it up to the shop to do some work on it. Hope you enjoy this video. Drag it out of the barn and see if it'll run. Here's my kayaks that haven't been in the water lately. But here's an old barn, tobacco barn on my property, and I've got this push mower here with a Briggs 3.75 horsepower Murray. It's missing a front wheel. You can see it there. And I'm going to see if I can get it running. I'm going to drag it out of the shed here and drag it up to the shop and see if it's even locked up. It might be locked up, I don't know. And I've got to find another wheel for it. I'm hoping I can find, those are adjustable wheels. I'm hoping I can find a whole new adjustable wheel for it and weld it back on there. But first of all, I've got to see if it'll even run. And it's just covered with years of cobwebs, and it'll be an interesting repair. There's what's left of a Corvair engine that somebody gave me, and I hauled a lot of it off to the dump. Anyway, this used to be an old horse stall, and I'm looking to see if there's any snakes in here. I see a lot of electrical lights and stuff that have not been run in many years, and then a whole bunch of junk. Kind of terrifying, isn't it? Anyway, let's drag this puppy up to the shop and see what we can do with it. See if if the string will pull, and if we can even start the engine. Okay, oh my goodness. Got it up here to the garage. So let's get her open and see what we can do. There we are. Hope I can find a wheel for that thing. You can see it's just rusted out. Bolt rusted out. Okay. I wonder if it'll even turn over. We get the handle extended here. Goodness. There it goes. There it goes. And it's got the strip, or there we go. I think I can tighten that. There it goes. And this one, oh my, just barely turned. There we go, got the handle back in place. And then we got the safety brake on the mower, which is frozen, wouldn't you know. Yeah, this cable is frozen. down here. Gonna have to grease that, otherwise the blade won't turn over, because it's a brake on the flywheel or something that touches the flywheel and locks the motor up. So yeah, that does turn just a touch. So let's see if we can get this brake open without breaking it. Spray it full of WD-40. Let's see here, sprayed it. All right, it's kind of sort of working. And then this defeats the safety feature of the stupid thing. This clip. All right. Yeah, that clip I put on there so I could keep on mowing without holding the safety. Let's see if we can get it to motor to turn. Yeah, motor's gonna turn. All right, that's a great sign. All right, let's see what we got here. My bulb all shot. Can't tell. Doesn't look like there's anything in there. Pretty dry. We'll put some gas in there and pump the prime button. Oh, we need to check the oil while we're here. Dipstick. All right, let's see if we can get the dipstick open. Come on here. There it goes. Well, there's oil in there. Okay. Thread in to check. Well, we just had it threaded in. And it's working. Okay, so there's oil in there. Well, that'll create a nice fire, won't it? Look at that. And, yeah, there's a mouse nest up inside here. So let's pull this cover off. This cover, there's a mouse nest up in here. And we'll clean the air filter. There's the choke and throttle. So let's pull this off. That looks like a 10 millimeter. And there's a couple of bolts back here and here. Throttle free design. Yeah, it was a self-governing engine. You'd set it to run and it would just run. And if I remember right, it was really quiet. It was a really nice mower. Oh, while we're here, just for fun, let's take a look at the blade. Yeah, there's the blade. All right. So let's see if we can get that cover off. Got this set of Mac tools back in 1976 or 77, and they're standard. They're not. Okay, it is 7/16. I mean 3/8. But yeah, bought these off the Mac truck. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Some of you Americans that had a Mac truck came to the automotive shop where I work as an apprentice mechanic. Oh, my ratchet's about shot. I need to take it back to the Mac truck, don't I? Yeah, my ratchet. I'm keep bumping my handle on the ratchet. Let me get a wrench. Try and do this with one hand. I turned this thing upside down, by the way, and dumped the gas. There was some gas. Look, I think you can see some of the gas in the carburetor. Yeah, in the gas tank. So I dumped that out, what I could of it. And so that's going to be, it smells something terrible too. And I'm not kidding, this has been down in the shop for over 10 years. And okay, there we go. And look at there. There's the mouse nest that I was suspecting was in here. Something left of it. There's the governor throttle control. There's the brake that we were talking about with the handles that turns the cabled here and locks the turns off the ignition. I think, yeah, there's an ignition short switch right here, and it turns the ignition off and locks the flywheel up, or brakes it, as in brakes of a car, brakes it. There's the ignition coil. Let me get a screwdriver and dig that out. I know you guys get a chuckle out of this work because you've done so much of this yourself, worked on these small engines, and yeah, we're going to have to blow this out with compressed air. Yeah, we're going to have to blow this out with compressed air and bother get the worst of it off here. Yeah, let me go get the air hose. Here we go. Should have had the gas cap on there. Now we'll take air cleaner off. Yeah, a little dirty. Woo. Like I said, I don't have any idea how long this thing has been out here. Look at that. Get that cleaned up. This is pretty cool how this throttle worked. I might have rigged it up to give me a little more power or speed. I don't remember now. But anyway, here's the intake manifold. It comes over here and connects to this side. See, the intake manifold comes over. And then there's a breather tube here. There's a crankcase breather right here in the valve compartment. You take these off and get to the valve springs, and then there's a breather tube that goes under, comes back and sucks the fumes out of the car, out of the crankcase. So we've got to clean the air cleaner. We know that. But let's put a little bit of gas in it. Probably ought to pull the plug off and look, but let's just put some gas in it and see what if we can get it to spark. Before I do that, I'll spray carburetor cleaner. On some of these joints. Probably ought to put a little inside the carburetor. So when I pump it, it'll pump it. If that pump is any good. Yeah, I don't think there's any enough fuel in there. But that carburetor cleaner is flammable, so it should fire. Let's see if it'll spark. Yeah, it's turning good, so it's a good sign there. All right, let me clean the pull cord housing off and put it back on there and see if we can get a spark out of it. Got gas in it. I don't know whether the prime button works there. I pushed it a bunch and it didn't feel like it was even pumping, so the carburetor could be so clogged up that it's not going to do anything. So we're going to step on the edge here and see if we can get it to fire. A lot of compression. And we'll get the camera settled here. that carburetor cleaner burns. Okay, well, yeah, I don't see anything happening here. So let's get that carburetor cleaner again. Choke and carburetor cleaner. Maybe we can get it running long enough. That's the first time it's run in all these years. My parents bought this for me when I moved into this house, and it was used back then. And now, speaking of lawnmowers, there goes Vern grooming the yard. And anyway, so I don't really need this push mower, but I'm gonna get it running anyway if I can. See if we can get that carburetor cleaned up. All right, we sprayed it. Try it again. Got interrupted by Vern, who's down there in the woods. Okay. There we go. Should fire up for a second here. Okay. So we definitely have a carburetor issue, but at least it's running. Huh. And I don't even remember where this is supposed to go, or if it's supposed to go anywhere. It seems like it was adjustable, but yeah, we got a problem with the carburetor being all clogged up, and it could be the fuel pump. There's a little fuel pump in the carburetor, a little valve that little rubber valve, a little rubber flap. This was called the Pulsajet carburetor, if I'm not mistaken, back in the 70s and 80s, the Pulsajet. And they used a little gasket slash double valve carburetor pump. Well, not a pump, but it used suction to pump the fuel, and every pulse of the engine would close the valve off, and then one of the strokes would cause the valve to open and refeed the carburetor with fuel so it would run. And I believe they called it the Pulsajet. So we've got it running, so to speak. And you saw the smoke come out of it, but it cleared up the second time. Let's see. I'll get it to run this time. There we go. Okay, flooded it. This is not starting fluid, so it doesn't have near the potency. Okay, choking it. See if we can get it to run now. Okay, that carburetor is really clogged up. Sometimes you can suck enough fuel up in there, it'll clear it up. Okay, I hear Vern over here getting stuck. Yep, this happens. This happens with these. Get stuck on a root. Okay, Vern, okay. Yeah, see that big root there? Big problem. Come on. Shelf bracket. Okay, let's get out of here. Come on. There we go. Okay, start, run. There it goes. I gotta do a cleanup on that thing. It's been running this morning in the rain. So the grass is all dirty on it. But it'll clean itself up pretty good by itself once it dries out. Okay, well, oh my carburetor issues. What a pain. There's a 1/2 inch nut here, and I think there's a nut underneath here that pulls that carburetor off. And then we can get those Phillips screws, pull the carburetor apart. Yeah, there's a nut here. Nut here. And a 1/2 inch bolt here. Not a nut, a bolt and a bolt. And we should be able to just yank that carburetor right off. Comes out. Vern, you can't be mowing up here like a cat. Got to be right in the middle of everything. Okay, let's pull that carburetor off. And we'll put it on the bench and see if we can take it apart, blow out all the jets. Probably going to have to buy a new seal and gasket and pump assembly. I'll show you what I'm talking about. This is actually squirting now. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Hey, we may be making progress here. All right, we got gas in there now. Let's see if it'll start. Freed it up. There it goes. Okay. Let's hook this back up. There it goes. Okay, so the stop worked. All right, let's see if it'll run this time. Nope, not spraying. Come on. Well, let's see if it'll run even without the prime. There it goes. Okay. Finally released. Yeah, we definitely need to spray that with oil. I had some oil upstairs in the shop. Not oil, but WD-40. I just used some engine cleaner on that plastic or whatever that is. Plastic and coated, yeah, it's wire, plastic coated wire. Control wire. All right, let's try it one more time, and we'll clean the air filter laying right there. I got cobwebs and spiders all over me, so let's fix this. I don't know how I can do this with one hand. There we go. Okay, now this is working better and better. It's still sticking. See, I can't hardly pull it without breaking it, but it is working a little better. I pulled the filter out, filter out of the thing. It is just coming apart, and what's going to happen is it just breaks apart real bad. It's going to get sucked up into the gas. See, it just falls apart. So I'll get a filter, and hopefully I'll get a wheel, even if it's not adjustable. Yeah, let me get a tape measure and I'll measure that wheel. Alrighty, so it's a 7-inch wheel, and if I can mount the wheel in that hole with some washers, if it'll fit. See, 7-inch. It may not fit, because 3.5 inches from the center of that hole hits this. So I'd have to shim it way off, but I can do that. The other thing I could do, but there's not much of a, yeah, I could drill a hole right here. And I'm looking at 3.5 inches. So the 7 inches, the tire would come out front here like this. And then I'd have to adjust the deck to the height of this hole. So I can estimate that level is a little bit low right there. I might raise the deck up just a little bit all the way around, and then measure the hole where I could drill the hole in that frame right there, and bolt a wheel to it with some washers, and should be easy enough. So a 7-inch wheel with a axle or a shoulder bolt, the depth of the wheel to get me into the frame there, and I should be able to mow. All right, let's run to the hardware. Got everything ready to go here to the store. So let's go off camera here and plug in my password. Okay, we'll let Vern keep cutting. Yeah, and I don't know if you can tell from the camera, but he's doing a beautiful job on the yard. It's nice and groomed. It looks groomed rather than just mowed. I've always said that about this mower. This is the Husqvarna 450 XH. X means it can climb pretty steep hills, and H means that it has a higher level of cut than the other models. I don't know how high it is, and right now I think it's set about 3 inches, 4 inches, but it'll go down quite a bit from 0 to, which would be about 1 inch cut, to 8, I think, or 7, which is about 5 or 6 inches of cut. So the number is, it doesn't correspond with the inches, but yeah, it's doing really well. Looks like we're in for some more rain, doesn't it? All right, let's get to TSC, Tractor Supply Company, and see if we can get a wheel and a filter. Let me get a picture of this filter. I've got the drill and my wheel here. It's a 6-inch wheel, so I can fit it in there better. And I'm gonna put it right in there and adjust the other wheels to fit that depth. So let's get that drill, that hole drilled, and put this bolt in. We got the thing working, so we'll take the override, we'll take the override switch off, and see if I can hold this all and pull it. You need to prime it, if it'll prime. There it goes. Okay, try it again here. I figured out when we got this and when I put it in storage. We bought it in 1980, 1990. My parents paid 75 bucks for it, and it was used then, but in pretty good shape, as I recall. And then I put it up about 2 years later. I put it up. We got a lawnmower tractor. That's not the one we had back then. This is a newer model since then, and we put this thing away in that shed you saw earlier. And okay, so 30 years, somewhere in there. It's been sitting down there. 30 years it's been sitting down there, rotting away. And seems to work fine. Put a new wheel on the front there to just do a little trimming. I'm not going to use this to mow the yard. I mean, I'm going to use it to mow part of the yard. So let me put it on. Okay, so the safety's working now. Yeah, it starts nice. Always did. And it was nice and quiet. And it did a great job. I'm going to take it out front. I don't have Vern mowing over that little crest right there. There's about a 30-foot, 40-foot section that's, oh, I don't know, 200 feet. I don't know how long it is. And I'm going to go out there and mow that. I don't run Vern out there because I don't want to tempt people driving by with that auto mower, which you can see is right there. Yeah, right there behind the tree going up the hill. If they steal it, they won't be able to use it. For one thing, it'll go into alarm. Second thing is it has GPS tracking on it. Third thing is that the charger is serialized to the mower. So even if they buy a charger to work on it, they won't be able to get it to work because the mower and the charger are serialized by the factory. And so if they turn it in to, or call tech support and try to get a charger for it, they will be asked for the serial number, and the serial number is registered in my name, and they'll have to confirm that all of that. So anyway, I haven't had any trouble with it. I've had it for 5 years and it's still mowing out there, but you're going to see it's going to stop here in just a second. Let me zoom in here. Yeah, it's going to stop right about there, and it's going to turn because it's hit the wire. And from that point to the street, I need to mow that. And I usually mow it with the tractor, but I need the exercise. So the tractor's going to sit this morning, and I'm going to run out there before it rains, and it looks pretty dark. I'm going to run out there and mow that real quick. So yeah, this is the vintage tech, and I guess 30 years is vintage. I don't know. And it's got nothing to do with radios or any of that junk, but it is vintage, and it is technology, and it is technical. So we got it running. Thanks for watching the Vintage Tech.